The Met Office has issued an amber warning for high winds in South Wales and southwest England, with 60-70 miles per hour coastal gusts and large waves expected. The warning, which is valid until 6 o'clock GMT on Sunday, says gusts could reach 80 miles per hour in exposed locations. Coast guards in Devon say they are expecting phenomenal waves offshore, possibly reaching 45 feet, 14 meters, in height. The Ministry of Defence has put 1,500 personnel on notice to help in southern England if needed. On Saturday morning, about 670 homes in the Newbury, Basingstoke, Bournemouth and Salisbury areas were without electricity. More than 300 homes in Cornwall also had no power. Concrete. In Dawlish, where the key railway line between Devon and Cornwall has been destroyed by waves, concrete has been sprayed onto the cliff behind the track. The aim is to make the area safer, with more high winds and large waves expected. The BBC's Jenny Hill, in Paignton on the South Devon coast, says the main concern is the high tide between 11 o'clock and noon GMT. Waves will get higher and higher, impacting sea defences which have already taken quite a battering, she said. The Environment Agency says there is a significant risk of further flooding on Saturday throughout Devon and Cornwall. The Conservative MP for Bridgewater and West Somerset, Ian Littlegrower, said river levels in his constituency remained enormously high, and people there were having to batten down again to prepare for the next storm. He again criticised the Environment Agency and its head, the former Labour Cabinet Minister Lord Smith, for not dredging in the area to prepare for storms. "We have been let down by London," he said. "On the ground Environment Agency staff, are working hard. Up in London I don't know what they are doing." The Prospect Union, which represents staff in the Environment Agency, rejected the comments, saying there was a concerted effort to criticize the Environment Agency rather than those who have cut their budget by £45 meters a year. Soupty and Wiley of Avon and Somerset Police said agencies working in the area were constantly trying to plan ahead, but there would be no quick solutions. "The biggest challenge is the longevity of this," he said. "The bucket really is full. Any more rain is compounding the problem. It is going to be a number of weeks before this response phase moves into recovery." Yellow warning. An amber rain warning for southern England expired at 6 o'clock GMT, but a less severe yellow warning is valid until 6 o'clock GMT on Sunday. The yellow warning covers the entire south of England plus parts of Midlands and much of Wales. Jacob Cope, of the BBC Weather Centre, said winds would strengthen through the day and peak in the mid-afternoon. He said the high wind speeds would continue through the evening before easing early on Sunday. Even in some inland areas, winds of 40-50 miles per hour would be seen, he added. He also warned that Wales, northwest England and southwest Scotland could get 20-30 millimeters, 1 in, of rain through the course of Saturday. Forecasters said most areas would have some respite from the bad weather on Sunday. Monday would be a quiet day, but wet and windy weather would return on Tuesday. In other developments, the Environment Agency is moving more staff from northwest England to flood-hit areas further south. Transport operators say some disruptions still exist, but the picture is improving. Flybe is increasing its number of weekday flights between Gatwick and Newquay in Cornwall to 6 from 3. Rail operator First Great Western has put in place special ticketing arrangements so that passengers affected by flood disruption can buy cheaper advance fares while revised timetables are put in place. Speed restrictions are in place across much of the rail network in Kent because of high winds and the likelihood of debris on the track. A landslip at Meopham is causing disruption to rail services between London and Gillingham. The Cumbrian coastline is due to reopen on Monday after weeks of repairs from a storm surge. On the M25, 2 of 4 lanes remain closed clockwise between junction 16 and 17. Link roads from the M40 onto the M25 clockwise are also closed because flooding has spread from surrounding fields onto the carriageway. The Cabinet Office said the government's Cobra Emergency Committee would continue to meet throughout the weekend. Defences breached. At Kingston in Cornwall, where dozens of homes were damaged by huge waves on Wednesday, the BBC's Dominic Hurst said Friday night's high tide passed with no apparent new damage to properties. The Environment Agency has 2 severe flood warnings, which mean danger to life, in place, both in Somerset. The agency has also issued about 190 flood warnings and more than 300 flood alerts. One of the areas covered by a severe flood warning is the village of Moorland, where about 80 homes were evacuated after the local water level rose by about 1 meter overnight on Thursday, breaching temporary flood defences in the early hours of Friday. On Friday, Prime Minister David Cameron and Lord Smith visited the Somerset levels, which have been severely affected by flooding for several weeks. Resident Jim Winkworth accused Lord Smith of letting everyone down by not doing more to help, but Lord Smith said he was proud of the work his agency had done. Mr. Cameron admitted there were lessons to learn from the flooding in Somerset. On Wednesday, the Prime Minister announced an extra £100 million would be spent over the next year tackling the aftermath of recent flooding. But according to a report in the Times, a letter was sent to the Downing Street last summer warning of the danger of flooding in the Somerset levels. The letter requested help to fund dredging, but it was passed to the Floods Minister and he rejected the plea, the newspaper reported.